Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of This Week in the World of Football. This is episode number 355 for July 30th, 2024. I'm your host, Randy Snow. On this week's show, Ohio State football players rake in a record amount of NIL money. Some Billings Outlaws players and coaches had trouble getting home from ArenaBowl XXXIII. And two young NFL quarterbacks get paid. But I'm not here all by myself. Across the table from me, as always, is my son Adam.
Happy Tuesday. Yep, it's man.
It is Tuesday, isn't it?
It is Tuesday, and it just feels like a lot of stuff has finally slowed down for us a little bit.
Yes.
We will talk about our videos we did last week coming up in a second.
So many videos.
And what we got coming up, but we're kind of in a nice little, it's like almost having a week off, except for doing this show.
Yeah, there's a lull between the the videos that we've been creating. We come to you each week from the fabulous World of Football Man Cave, located right here in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. We're here to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. Our goal is to educate, inform, and entertain our listeners with the glorious buffet that is the world of football. All this while keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. Thanks for checking out our podcast. We'd love to get your feedback on one of our many platforms: Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. So you can simply ask your Alexa device to play the World of Football podcast. We also have timestamps down in the descriptions of both the podcast and many of our YouTube videos, so you can go right to the topics you really want to listen to. You can also find our podcast in its full audio form on our YouTube channel. Just search for The World of Football Kalamazoo or use the handle @The World of Football in the YouTube search bar. We will also find other selected videos on our YouTube channel, like a plethora of videos we put out last week. Actually, Adam put out. He's doing all the work behind the scenes. Our CFL Week 7 recap was put out last Wednesday. A video called Catching Up with the Indoor Football League, featuring our new friend Trey from Off the Wall. That was put out on Thursday. On Friday, it was an ArenaBowl recap video where we talked about my trip. And then on Saturday, it was a short called Randy's ArenaBowl Swag. And then finally, Randy goes to the ArenaBowl, or goes to ArenaBowl XXXIII, a travelogue about my trip. And that came out on Saturday also. So you have been a busy little boy in the last week or so.
Between that and I am in the process of moving. So fitting that in on top of everything has been absolutely insane, to my girlfriend's chagrin. Having to balance that stuff has not been easy. Right. So any advice is taken. But no, we put out a lot last week. There was just a lot to get to. Right. I got the idea to talk to Trey about the IFL with the playoffs coming up. Right. So we kind of worked that in. We already had our Week 7 recap, which took a couple days to get to just for other circumstances. And then the ArenaBowl recap was just like, well, this keeps getting put on the back burner. Now that the season's done, we can kind of take our time, but we wanted to be timely with it. And then I just kind of came up with your swag short because I was going through and I was like, you know what, this little bit here would be a good short.
Yeah, and then we've got another video coming out later on this week, our Canadian Football Weekly for Week 8. We were supposed to record that on Monday, but life seems to have gotten in the way this week, and so we'll probably be recording that tomorrow.
More family health stuff that we're having to tackle, so we'll record it Wednesday, and we'll try to get it out Wednesday, maybe Thursday, because the first game is what this week?
Thursday night.
Thursday night, so I best get it up Wednesday then. So be on the lookout for that. And then also, we don't have it coming up soon, but right around the corner, guys, if you're listening, we are going to be doing our weekly NFL picks videos again on the YouTube channel. And we would love for you guys to participate. We're going to start probably hammering that in a lot of the videos. Just, keep people, we'd love to get people to interact and send in their picks. We don't know how we're going to do it yet, whether it be in a community tab or on the videos themselves. But we want people to join us on the pick journey this year. So just keep that in the back of your mind as the NFL season's right around the corner.
Well, those of you who have participated in the past, let us know. Is it okay what we've been doing? You sending your picks in the comment section of the video, or do you want would something else work? I think that's been working fine for us.
People can watch the video up to a point, but I think putting it in the community tab also and letting people get their picks maybe in ahead of time. Even before we get the video up, they can get their picks in just to play it safe. They don't have to wait, because sometimes we're a little late on the video. It doesn't go up till Thursday before the Thursday night game usually. So I was just doing that to kind of hedge our bets. Like, hey, here's the games for this week. If you want to drop your picks, start dropping them before we even record the video. Maybe we can mention them on the video that week before we get to recording too. Because the video format, we're going to try something different this year to hopefully streamline it. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's begin our tour around the world of football. And we start off this week with 3 championship games in the Women's Football Alliance. The WFA had their championship games this past weekend at Tom Benson Stadium
down there in Canton.
Yep. And so in the Division III championship game, it was the Cincinnati Cougars over the New Mexico Bonitas, 48-26. Congratulations, Cincinnati Cougars. In Division II, it was the Nebraska Pride over the West Palm Beach Coyotes, 32-6. Congratulations, Nebraska Pride. And in the WFA Pro Division championship game, the St. Louis Slam upset the Boston Renegades by the narrowest of margins, 30-27.
Wow.
I mean, how many has Boston won in a row? At least 5.
It was like 5 straight at one point,
Yeah, they have been running, just running wild in the Pro Division there, the Boston Renegades. And good for the St. Louis Slam. I don't think a lot of people gave them much of a chance in this game because Boston has been so good.
Yeah.
And once again, I think they were undefeated going into that game. So congratulations to the St. Louis Slam for winning the Pro Division title.
Yeah, you got to love that it was such a tight sure. I mean,
yes,
a high-scoring game in your Division III championship, that's always great. You get the blowout, Nebraska defeating West Palm, 32-6. I mean, yeah, you hate to see a blowout in a championship game.
Right.
But then you get the close game, a 3-point game for a championship at your highest level against a team that's 5-time champ. That's like the equivalent of like the NFL back in the day when it was like the Bears or the Packers or the Giants winning championship after championship back in the day. So good for St. Louis. That's pretty awesome, bringing a title back to that city. So I wouldn't have guessed Boston would have lost that game.
No.
I thought that Pittsburgh was the only team that would have been a match for them. But hey, kudos to St. Louis. And I'm looking forward to going to one of those WFA games in the future again.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yep. And then also on Saturday, before the WFA Pro Division Championship game, they played an all-star game, which I wasn't sure last week because I hadn't seen a lot about it, but I did see it today. They did play an all-star game, and I looked up the score. The national team beat the American team by the score of 22-8 in their annual all-star game.
Right on.
So, all right. So now we're going to head north of the border, and we're going to get some scores from the Canadian Football League.
That's right. We had a game Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So they spread it out all over again.
I love that.
And we had some great results this past weekend. Yep. First off, Thursday kicked off with a game between 2 of the top teams in the league. Both teams had only lost 1 game going into this. And it was the Montreal Alouettes who came out on top of the Saskatchewan Roughriders 20-16. Saskatchewan was even up 16-3 at halftime.
Yes.
And so they blew it in the second half. Totally shut out. And both teams had to end up using backup quarterbacks.
Yes.
Caleros, who's been hurt a couple weeks.
Right.
And they've been using Strevler.
Right.
And then the Rough Riders have had Shea Patterson filling in for Trevor Harris or Nick Harris.
Trevor Harris. Montreal was on their backup quarterback, Caleb Evans, and then
I was thinking of the Blue Bombers, Strevler. That's a different game.
Yeah,
you're right. I don't know why I mixed that up. So yes, Caleb Evans filled in for Cody Fajardo.
Right, and then he got pulled at halftime because they were behind, and they put in a third-string quarterback, Davis Alexander, and he led the team to a win through a couple of touchdown passes. Great highlights. Go check those out. So two of the best teams in the CFL being led by backup quarterbacks.
Yeah. Now, a team on the rise, it seems like on Friday night, the Ottawa Red Blacks just absolutely blasted the Calgary Stampeders out of the stadium with a 33-6 victory there. Ottawa, keep an eye out for them. They got a pretty good record there, 5-2 on the year now. They're a team to watch out for. Yeah,
this wasn't too much of a game. I missed watching this game, but I watched the highlights, and it was just all Ottawa the whole game long. Nothing much to say there on that game.
And then the Toronto Argonauts defeated the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 16-14 in overtime. This game was a 13 apiece at the end of regulation, and Toronto came out with that victory. What a man, these two teams, were two of the best teams in the league for a while there. To see the
Yes.
Blue Bombers kind of fall off. The Argonauts have had their struggles this year.
Yep.
So, for them to get a win keeps them, floating above 500. What do you think of this game?
This was an interesting game. In overtime, each team gets a possession. So the Bombers had the ball first, and they couldn't score, so they attempted a field goal. They missed the field goal, got a rouge, so they actually were up by 1 point. But with Canadian rules, the other team got a chance. I don't know, from the 30-yard line, 25, I forget. But yeah, on their possession, they couldn't score either, but they did kick a 34-yard field goal. Lewis Ward won the game in overtime, walk-off kick to win that game.
And then Sunday saw the Hamilton Tiger Cats defeat the Edmonton Elks 44-28. So Hamilton getting their second win in a row, the second win of the season. And then the Edmonton Elks now falling to 0-7. You got to feel bad for those Elks. But maybe, just maybe, they got a little ray of sunshine, a little ray of hope there in Edmonton, because backup quarterback Trey Ford finally saw some action. He was in the fourth quarter of this game and threw 3 touchdowns. So about his 10 minutes of playtime, he threw 3 touchdown passes in the loss. But I think that gave a lot of fans hope. He was a player we were definitely looking at last year. Like, this guy's up and coming. You just got to put a team around him. But then they signed McLeod Bethel-Thompson, and they kind of went with him. They went with the more experienced or a Grey Cup winning quarterback as opposed to the talent, the rookie or the younger guy who has potential, but you want to play it safe. Mm-hmm. And I think they just got to go with Trey Ford. I like McLeod Bethel-Thompson, but you got to go Trey Ford.
Yeah, I watched this game, and the commentators were saying at halftime that they expected Trey Ford to go in at halftime. And they spoke to the coach when he came out of the locker room, and he goes, nope, we're sticking with McLeod Bethel-Thompson. And in the third quarter, they only had 2 possessions, and both of them were a 2 and out. And so in the fourth quarter, with 10 minutes to go, they finally said, okay, let's put in Trey Ford. The crowd went crazy because the crowd wanted to see him too. The crowd wanted him in at halftime, Trey Ford, and they didn't get it. So when he finally did come in, all he did was scramble around. They compared him to Doug Flutie, and I can see that comparison. He was able to dodge defenders.
Dive, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
Yep, and threw 3 touchdown passes in those last 10 minutes. What if they had put him in at halftime? They could have possibly won that game. Who knows? But I think they'll have to take a serious look at Trey Ford next week.
He's got to be your starter. If not this week, soon, he has got to start. He has wasted talent just sitting on that bench.
Yeah, they said he won 4 games last year in relief of the starter out there. So he can do it, and I think he's ready.
Give him the range. Yep, let him do it. And I think Edmonton, he might be that missing piece.
Yes.
That they've been so close all year. He could be that it factor.
Yep.
And I'm not an Edmonton fan, but I've been pulling for him, because they've had such a rough go of it.
Absolutely.
And Trey Ford, when he started going off last year, I was like, this guy, I am curious to see what he's going to do next season.
Yeah.
And nothing till the last 10 minutes of that game.
Yeah.
And what do you do? 3 touchdown passes. Yep. Right? So I hope they go to him. He's only going to get better if you play him. And he just played with little experience this year, little game time this year. And look what he did. Yep. Imagine if he actually gets the proper prep.
Yep.
This dude is going to make a difference. So I hope they change that. And then on bye this week, the British Columbia Lions. We're going to look at your Week 8 standings after Week 8. In the East Division, the Montreal Alouettes are at 6-1. The Ottawa Red Blacks at 5-2. The Toronto Argonauts at 4-3. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats at 2-5. In the West Division, the British Columbia Lions jump back up to first place over the Rough Riders with a 5-2 record. The Rough Riders also at 5-2. The Calgary Stampeders sit at 3-4. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers at 2-6. And the Edmonton Elks at 0-7. Now, guys, we are going to jump back to the States, and we're going to talk some indoor football league playoffs. I'm excited about this. I don't know about you, Dad, but we got hyped up after talking with Trey from Off the Wall this past week. It was great time chatting with him, hearing him just talk about this league that we've had in our peripheral.
Sure.
We talk about it on the show every week, but we would see highlights here and there on X, and I would tune into a game if I was on YouTube. Like, oh, hey, the Rattlers are playing, or oh, hey, there's a game going on. Let me check out what's going on. And they do a great job. Mm-hmm. They have great streams. They do everything on their YouTube channel, and I think it's great. And then the news kind of came this week. So before we even talk about the playoff games, the news kind of came out this week that the league had made a deal to have their games put on Stadium. So it's a different iteration of Stadium. Like back in the day, Stadium used to be I believe it was a actual channel you could get on your satellite. Like you used to have the Stadium channel.
Yes,
We'd seen
yes,
some
I did get
IFL
it.
games.
I did get it on my satellite dish.
And then I remember even at the gas station, I'd see like Stadium had like a little commercial every, looped around. It'd be like a 2-minute ad on the gas station at one of the Citgo stations or something around here. But so that's what I thought of Stadium. So when they made this deal this week, I guess they put the games on Stadium's YouTube channel because I couldn't find the games. I was a little confused of where to find them. Come to find out it's on Stadium's YouTube channel, still for free, but it was a good deal for the league because the commissioner came out and said that the deal was they were getting paid. The league is getting paid by Stadium to put their games on there, not the other way around. In a lot of cases, it's a league paying a network. That's what the Arena Football League had the issues with the NFL Network, because they had to pay them millions of whatever, all that headache. So it just sounded like a good deal for the IFL. This sounded like a win-win for them. And it sounded like there were some issues this past weekend.
Yes.
They even came out with a statement apologizing for the stream problems across all 4 playoff games. At one point, somebody shared a screenshot of a baseball diamond, and the title of the video was I want to say it was the Blizzard in Quad City. I could be wrong. It could have been one of the other playoff games. But it essentially said the Indoor Football League playoff game, but it showed a baseball diamond video. Like they're watching a baseball game. I made a comment saying, "Gee, I'm pretty sure Trey didn't say anything about them playing on a diamond now."
Yeah.
But
no, that apology came right from the IFL commissioner, Todd Tryon.
Yeah.
So he put out a statement saying he apologized for the crappy video stream because they have been pretty solid up until this past weekend, and all 4 of the playoff games experienced some sort of a streaming issue.
Yeah, a lot of fans were thinking it had to have been on Stadium's end because it seemed like all the IFL teams, whenever they broadcasted, didn't really have any issues. So unless this is the league kind of covering for Stadium, to keep that nice money coming in, which is what I think's happening. I could be wrong.
But all 4 games?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm thinking it's got to be a Stadium. It couldn't be like all of a sudden.
Right.
So I think the league's just covering that up, covering their butts, and keeping that relationship because they want that sweet, sweet moolah coming in, which I get. So hopefully the streams this upcoming week are good because after the results of these games, which we're jumping into right now, I promise everybody.
Finally.
We got some interesting stuff happening in this league. After the results this week, I was like, oh my goodness, this is insane.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to start off with Friday night as the Green Bay Blizzard got their first playoff win in like 12 years, I think, over the Quad City Steamwheelers, 34-23. The number 1 seeded Blizzard advanced. And like I said, 12 years had been since they had won any sort of playoff game in any of their, whatever leagues they've been in. I mean, they've been part of the IFL for a while now.
Right.
They were in the Arena League, AF2. So good for them getting that. It seemed like a great crowd too. That's another thing I wanted to say. They looked like they got some really good crowds there this weekend, especially Green Bay. Mm-hmm. So that was awesome to see. So good for them. They advanced. No real upset there, but just the fact that they snapped that drought is pretty awesome. Then Saturday night, in the East as well, saw the number 3 seed Massachusetts Pirates get the big upset over the number 2 seed Frisco Fighters, 53-50. This was a game, I saw that result and I was like, whoa. I mean, we were kind of figuring that Frisco, this was a team that needed to get over the hump in the postseason.
Right.
And it still looks like they got a problem.
Yeah.
They get to the postseason, something ain't right. Yeah. But the Pirates, they won the IFL championship
2 years ago?
Was it 2 years ago
I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was either that or that when they were in the National Arena League, they won. Then they jumped to the IFL. I can't remember. I could be wrong. But good for them. They were a team that I was like, they could be sneaky, but I was surprised because they were 9-8 on the year. They defeated the 13-4 Frisco Fighters. So that was a bit of a surprise. On Saturday as well, but in the Western Conference, the number 3 Arizona Rattlers upset the number 2 seed Vegas Nighthawks 39-38. Did you watch the end of that game?
No, I saw one of the highlights.
That last play.
The last play of the game.
The Rattlers got it to go ahead win there.
Well, they've done that before.
Unbelievable. So the Rattlers with a big win. Kind of feel bad for Vegas because I was like, dang, like they just they're going to host the game there, and that would have been cool for their fans.
Yep,
but
absolutely.
Arizona ruining their good time.
Yep.
And then on Sunday, the biggest upset of the postseason, as the number 4 seed San Diego Strikeforce upset the number 1 Bay Area Panthers and former IFL champions 49-40.
That was I couldn't believe that when I saw that score.
I mean, Trey had told us, these two teams had played 5 times all season. I think this is the 5th matchup. Oh. So unbelievable that this Cali Clash, he kept calling it, and yeah, when you get two teams that are rivals like this, that play each other all the time, anything can happen. And there you go. The San Diego Strikeforce came to play. They got the big win, and they're making it to the conference final. So that sets up next week's game. In the East, you're going to have the number 3 Massachusetts Pirates traveling to Green Bay to take on the Blizzard. And in the West, you're going to have the San Diego Strikeforce traveling to Arizona to take on the Rattlers. That's the number 4 seed at the number 3 seed there. Yeah. So, wow. These should be some very interesting games.
Absolutely. Yeah, those should be great games. Hopefully they got the streaming problem fixed.
I hope so.
I don't have what days those are. I don't know if one's a Saturday, one's a Sunday, or if they're both Saturday.
I think
one's
Sunday. A Friday and one's a Monday.
Really?
Yes. I think the Arizona game is on Monday, and then the Green Bay game is on Friday night, I believe. So they're spread out.
I put down these matchups a few days ago, and I meant to go back and go to their website and see who was playing when. But the matchups are there. We know who's going to be playing. It's just a matter of when they're going to be playing this weekend. But I'm sure folks can go check that out and get an idea about that.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure, because I was looking up, I don't know how, I was just looking up the bracket, and I believe I did see that it was Monday. I saw one of those games is on Monday. So,
well, if you want to look that up, I'll go on.
Well, I'm looking up. Just give me 2 seconds. My goodness, we got all the time in the world.
This makes for bad.
We got it right here. Look, yeah. So Monday. Well, actually, so we'll start Friday. Yep, Blizzard Rattlers, 7:05 Central Time, and then the Strikeforce will take on the Rattlers Monday, August 5th at 9:05 Central Time. So that'll be a late game here. Yeah. If we wanted to check that out.
Friday and Monday, so no Saturday or Sunday games.
Yep, so we have a couple days in between there.
Okay.
All right, and then we're going to move on, and we're going to throw it to Randy, who's going to talk about the Arena League.
Yeah, this was week 9, the end of their regular season. 2 games as always. The Duluth Harbor Monsters improved to 5-3 with a win over the Iowa Woo, who fell to 1-7. The final score of that game, 45-21. And in the other game, the 7-1 Kansas City Goats defeated the 3-5, well, made them 3-5, Ozark Lunkers by the score of 61-28. That game was actually played outdoors at a high school football stadium in Kansas City, which I thought was interesting. And you said that there's a possibility that their championship game or playoff game will also be played outdoors.
So this is the last week of the regular season.
Right.
I don't see any standings there, but obviously Kansas City at 7-1.
Right.
Duluth at 5-3,
right.
Ozark at 3-5, and Iowa at 1-7. So I believe the Goats will take on the Woo in another outdoor show case. I forget what they're calling it. It's another outdoor play, calling it the Outdoor Classic or something like that.
Okay.
Whatever their title was.
Well, I wasn't even sure if they were going to have just a championship game or if all 4 teams were going to be involved in the playoffs, because I could not find that not on their website, but I checked on my phone and there was nothing about playoff matchups, who was going to play who,
I'm
where,
fairly
what,
certain,
when, why.
I don't have this 100% because they haven't really, I haven't seen anything, but they said they're going to do another one of these outdoor games. So
okay.
They call it the second.
Okay. Yeah, the second in the series.
Yeah, but this will be a playoff version. So I believe, Kansas City will take on Iowa in that. I'm sure we'll talk about that next week, right. Depending on when they set that up.
But they did have an announcement this week where the league announced a second expansion team for next year. They've already announced the Eau Claire Jammers last week. And this week they announced a team in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And that team is going to be known as the Hot Springs Wise Guys. It's got something to do with the horse racing industry and mobsters or something in Hot Springs, Arkansas. So it's got like a horse dressed up kind of like a mobster.
Yeah.
So yeah, all their teams are quirky and they got some cool logos. I think the Lunkers is kind of a good one.
I like the Harbor Monsters, probably the best. That's probably my favorite one.
Yeah. But anyway, so now they're up to 2 expansion teams. I don't know if they're going to go for another 2 or what, but they are planning to expand next year.
We'll see.
So we shall see. All right, let's head back across the pond And we're going to go over to Europe, and we're going to talk about the European League of Football.
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about the Olympics.
No. Is that going on over there?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, well, let's see. We're only going to talk about football. And I'm not talking rugby either. Let's see. Week 10 out of 14 in the European Football League. 4 games on Saturday.
European League of Football. Say it right.
What
Not football
European
league.
Football League?
Yeah.
Oh, League of
Elf, not
right. Elf. Ethel.
Ethel, yeah.
All right. On Saturday, the Wrocław Panthers from Poland defeated the Ferencváros Enthroners of Hungary 62-12. Did you watch any of the highlights?
I was not able. I've been. Hey,
I know.
I was
all
busy.
the videos you've been putting out.
The last couple weeks, I kind of have not been able to keep up on the European League other than the scores.
All right, that's fine. In the other game on Saturday, the Vienna Vikings over the Prague Lions, they also scored 62 in a 62-23 win. And then the Stuttgart Surge defeated the Barcelona Dragons 71-7. Wow.
Barcelona's just had a really tough time of it after the start of the year. Whatever happened, they've just been struggling.
Yeah. The final game on Saturday was the Madrid Bravos shutting out the Cologne Centurions 37-0. Everything here so far has been a blowout. And it continues on Sunday. The Rhine Fire over the Paris Musketeers 38-6. The Munich Ravens over my Milano Seamen 69-23 or 69-30. I know your brain is coming up with a few.
There's so many jokes there.
And finally, in the closest game of the weekend, the Tyrol Raiders of Austria over the Helvetic Mercenaries of Switzerland by the score of 42-28. That's the closest game of the weekend, I think. Oh my gosh. Oh, no, wait a minute. We got one more. The Frankfurt Galaxy defeated the Hamburg Sea Devils 40-23. That would be the closest one, I think, of the weekend. And then the Berlin Thunder were on bye this past week. So let's take a look at the standings after 10 weeks. In the East, it's the Vienna Vikings at 10-0, and I guess they've already clinched a playoff spot, or clinched their division.
Yeah, which means they get a playoff spot. Yep.
Right. Yeah, because they're so far ahead of the next team. The Wrocław Panthers and the Berlin Thunder at 4-5. Ferencváros Enforcers at 2-7, and the poor, lonely Prague Lions.
They're not the Enforcers. They are the Enthroners.
Enthroners. I did have Enforcers written down, didn't I?
You did there.
Yeah.
You had Enthroners in the first part, but standings you did not.
Okay.
Way to go. I corrected it in your spread or your script.
In the Central Division, it's the Stuttgart Surge at 8-0, Tyrol Raiders at 6-3, Munich Ravens at 5-3, Milano Seamen at 3-6, Barcelona Dragons at 2-7, and the Helvetic Mercenaries at 1-8. And finally, in the West Division, the Rhine Fire stand at 9-1. They have also clinched a playoff spot. The Paris Musketeers and the Madrid Bravos are at 6-2. Cologne Centurions and Frankfurt Galaxy at 3-5, and the Hamburg Sea Devils at 2-6.
I'm looking very much forward to when they get to their post. There's going to be some good teams left.
Yeah.
The Stuttgart and Vienna both being undefeated.
Right.
The Rhine Fire, the defending champs, only losing one game so far this year. Those are 3 teams right off the bat. Any of those teams, I can't wait to see them play each other.
Yeah,
that should be awesome in the playoff setting. And then there's so many other little teams like I've watched kind of at the start of the year. I'm like, Tyrol should be interesting. The Paris Musketeers and Madrid Bravos seemed interesting. In Madrid, I think this is their first year, the Bravos. So watching them kind of make the playoffs would be pretty cool. And they've got their who would be in the playoffs right now. But we got 4 weeks left of the season. We don't want to get
way too early for that.
It's not like the college football playoff where we're going to talk about their top 4 every week. So, but we'll get there. And I'm just very excited. This is a league that's got a lot of promise, and it seems like they're doing a lot of the right stuff. So,
okay, all right. We're going to talk some NFL now. The New York Jets have signed 2024 UFL MVP. Adrian Martinez, who was the quarterback of the Birmingham Stallions. What's he done? Oh, he's just led his team to 3 straight championships in Birmingham, 2 in the USFL, and last year, this year actually, in the UFL. So,
well, hold on right now. That's good. I want Aaron Rodgers to stay healthy now, because if Adrian Martinez comes in, takes over for the Jets, and then wins a Super Bowl, I will kick myself. I will not be happy. I don't want him winning 4 straight championships.
Well,
in
as
3
long as
different
Aaron
leagues.
Rodgers gets booted to the bench, I don't care who's.
Well, if Aaron Rodgers is going to play, they aren't going to the Super Bowl, so
That's right.
I ain't worried about that.
Yep. Let's see. Some other NFL news. Good Morning Football returned to the airways yesterday from LA. I caught the first few minutes of the first episode.
Same.
And that was about it. I mean, I've never really been a big fan of the show, but
you talk about an awful lot here.
Yeah, their set looks eerily similar to what they had in New York. So,
but this time it seems like it's on the actual NFL Network set there.
Well,
where like, they do all the other shows. So I'm just like, it just doesn't have that same feel. I kind of like that brickwork. I like it just felt a little more intimate.
Yeah,
now it just feels like a big cold stage.
River or whatever that is.
They brought the pinball machine, and I don't know how I feel about this. And then Ryan, the guy who ran out, he slipped during his introduction.
That I didn't see. I didn't catch the actual beginning. I got about a minute or two.
They had the guy who does all the wrestling announcement, like let's get ready to rumble. That guy.
Yeah.
He came out and he did like an intro for everybody, and they kind of ran out. And Kyle Brandt, that's who it was.
Yeah.
Kyle Brandt comes running out, and I don't know if it was playing, but he slipped and fell on his back wearing a Dickerson jersey. So that was pretty funny.
But yeah, so the show is back, and I don't know how much I'll be watching. I didn't even watch it at all today, but 3 of the 4 hosts that were in New York were there. That got the new guy, what's his name, Kabaja Biamila. I forget his first name. I can pronounce his last name. I just don't remember his first name. But anyway, they seem like they work good together. So
hey, chemistry's important.
Yeah.
How do you think we've lasted 355 episodes?
Sheer grit and determination.
Oh, I thought it was spite and and just pure rage.
A little bit of that too. All right.
Too much behind the curtain?
Yeah. All right. The Hall of Fame game is being played this Thursday. That's 2 days from now. The Bears taking on the Texans in Canton, Ohio.
And Bears fans are already insufferable at work. Goodness gracious. Because they also dropped a trailer for their Hard Knocks that starts next week.
Did they?
Yeah,
I hadn't seen that.
It's like a minute long. Obviously, there's no footage from this year yet, but it was mainly talking about their franchise. But yeah, I'm already over the Bears hype. I'm completely over it. And this news you're about to get to, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care about the Bears. I'm done.
Yeah, it was reported just a little while ago that Bears head coach Matt Eberflus says that rookie quarterback Caleb Williams, the first overall pick in the 2024 draft, will not play in the Hall of Fame game. So all you fans that were just chomping at the bit to see him in the Hall of Fame game, you're going to have to wait another week or so to actually see him play in a game.
He needs every rep he can get, guys. I'm telling you, he needs every rep. He gonna need it.
Yeah. So they're just going to throw him in the first game of the regular season, and he's going to lose a bunch of games.
Yeah, when he finally plays in the preseason at some point, because we know he will. Yeah. They might even sit him for the first couple preseason games and wait till the last one to keep him fresh. But everybody's going to go losing their mind. He's going to make one pass. Everybody's going to lose their mind over it. I cannot wait. And then they're also going to be hyped up because of the Hard Knocks. Like, oh, look at that. We're so good. We're going to be great. Y'all need to just settle down.
And as soon as they lose their first game, the fans will be booing mercilessly and telling the bum to get out of town.
Man, I'll tell that bum to get out of town already for you, Bears fans.
And then we had a couple of player signings.
Not signings, they're just extensions.
Well, yeah, they signed contract extensions. Tua Tagovailoa, who's only 26 years old, signed a 4-year, $212.4 million contract extension to stay with the Dolphins through the year 2028. $93.2 million of that is fully guaranteed. You also had Jordan Love, who's only 25 years old, signed a 4-year, $220 million contract extension with the Green Bay Packers. He's getting only $75 million. Well, no, I'm sorry. He's getting $75 million in a signing bonus and $155 million fully guaranteed in his contract. And then finally, something close to home here.
Well, hold on. Before we move on to that one, I wanted to bring this up real quick because...
Oh, yeah, just interrupt me.
I know it's relevant. It is completely relevant, and you will see why here momentarily. All so, with those contract signings, the 5 quarterbacks from that draft class, so those 5 quarterbacks being Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, the kid from Los Angeles, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, and Jalen Hurts. Those 5 quarterbacks from that draft class that they were all a part of is the first quarterback class that have been signed to $1 billion collectively.
Really?
So those 5 guys collectively, it's $1 billion. Like, it's absolutely insane that that's happened. Yeah, so Joe Burrow, 5 years at $275 million. Tua, who was pick number 5 in that draft, the 2020 draft, because Burrow went 1, Tua went 5, so he's making $212.4 million. The number 6 pick, Justin Herbert, 5 years at $262.5 million. Number 26, Jordan Love, 4 years, $220 million. And number 53, Jalen Hurts, 5 years, $255 million. So that's over $1 billion
for a bunch of young quarterbacks,
5 young quarterbacks
who haven't won anything yet.
Two of those quarterbacks have appeared in the Super Bowl. Neither of them won it, but at least they made Super Bowl appearances.
Right.
I can't tell you all the playoff wins between them. I don't have that stat in front of me, but they are all up and comers. But Jordan Love being paid like he was for playing a good half a season is, which I get. He was also, the team knows what they got. He's been there for 4 years and sat for 3, played a half a season last year, but I don't know. That's a lot of money to that position, and I don't know if we'll ever see a draft class get paid like that ever again.
I don't know.
Insane.
I think that's the wave of the future now. That's the way it's going to be. You give them a couple of years, and if they look halfway decent, they're going to get huge contracts just like this, whether they deserve it or not, because that's the way it goes.
Well, we shall see.
Yep. All right, some local football news here. Left tackle Taylor Decker signs a 3-year, $60 million contract extension with our beloved Detroit Lions, with $31.83 million guaranteed. That's good for our team. Doesn't have the same impact as a $200 million contract.
No, but man, when you have a guy like Taylor Decker who went through some crap here in Detroit, I didn't realize he's only 29.
Yeah,
a stud left tackle, part of one of the best offensive lines in the league. So the Lions also showing that they are willing to spend money. They are trying to keep very important pieces.
Yes.
So that's 2 guys on the offensive line this year alone, this offseason,
right,
that have gotten big fat contracts.
Because Detroit understands that if for your quarterback to be successful, yes, you've got to pay him, but you've also got to pay his linemen, and they are doing that.
And the left tackle is usually your best friend if you're a right-handed quarterback. Right. And we also had, Sewell, our right tackle, getting, his due. So you got your guys on the outside getting paid. So I love it. I love seeing it. I guess Taylor Decker, they've been trying to get this deal done for like a year and a half or so, and they finally got it done. So good for him. So that's the good news out of Detroit.
Yep. And then, I don't know if this is good news or bad news.
Well, come on now.
Lions kicker Michael Badgley is out for the season with a torn hamstring. He did okay last year, but we've got the greatest kicker that's never kicked a single kick in the NFL coming up. God, I can't even play.
Jake Bates.
Jake Bates from the USFL Michigan Panthers, who is known for kicking 65-yard field goals. I think his first one
was a 62-yard.
64. No, I think it was 64.
It was 62.
But anyway, he's kicking 70-yard field goals in pregame, and so yeah, we're excited about it. It sucks that Badgley is out for the season, but I think Bates was going to be our kicker anyway.
Did he stage this? Did he just Monica? What's the ice skater?
I can't remember.
Not Lori. Tanya Harding.
Tanya Harding, yes.
He just Tanya Harding this situation and have his competition
so.
On hamstring.
I don't think so. I think he would have won that anyway.
I don't know. I like the competition. Somebody brought it up. Like, he's our kicker by default till they bring in some other kickers.
Oh, I'm sure they'll bring
somebody else in. Camp. But I don't know. I find it a little fishy, Jake Bates. I thought you would have gotten this on your own. But to be pulling the Tanya Harding on this,
there's a lot of Jake Bates fans out there that maybe had a hand in this. I don't know.
And they showed video of him kicking like a 55-yarder in practice, and it would have been good from probably 65. But I mean, and then I guess he went like 3 for 6 during Saturday drills or something. I don't know. Like, it's still practice. It's like a quarterback throwing an interception. Let's all calm down. Like, I'd rather my kicker miss some field goals at practice than in a game. So, but we got to get Jake Bates into those preseasons. That's when I think the kicking battle will actually show us what we got. Right. Like, I would love to see Dan Campbell actually. Okay, it's 4th and 1 at our 40-yard line. Let's send Bates out there and see if he can do it in an actual pressure situation. Can he do it in the NFL?
Yeah.
And he was doing it in Ford Field. I think they only got one game at Ford Field anyway, so he'll at least get to do it once in the preseason in Detroit.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Did you watch the Hard Knocks off season with the New York Giants?
I watched half of it.
Okay.
I felt bad because I was like kind of waiting towards we were closer to recording today. I was like, well, if I wait a few days to watch it, it'll be fresher in my mind. And then I watched half of it and didn't get back to it. But the first half was pretty interesting, though.
That was about the draft. That was draft
No,
day?
this one it was like still them prepping for the draft. I'm sure by the end of the episode they either go to the draft because it was more about them. The first half of the episode is them flying around to the different pro days, which was insane. The amount of travel that these coaches have to do because they showed a graphic of all the stops they make in the country. And like they had the coach and the GM on the private jet, and I'm like, there's no way they could make it to all of those pro days. Like that was like hundreds of places that they could go. Because I'm sure they got other guys that'll go to certain ones, but they just showed every single one. Like, there's no way that they flew that private jet to all those different locations with those same guys. Like that would be exhausting. Maybe they did. Maybe you do 2 or 3 in a day where you could hop from one school to another school. You do like 3 or 4 schools in a day, probably. But man, that just seemed like a lot. But yeah, it's a lot of draft prep. It's them narrowing down their picks, bringing the guys into the facility. Like they had the top 3 wide receiver prospects in their building at the same time, which is interesting. So it's just cool kind of seeing some of that behind the scenes stuff. I'm curious to see the back half of the episode. I'll get to it, and then it's the finale tonight. So we'll probably just talk about the whole series in general next week. So,
okay.
But yeah, I know you weren't crazy about this version of Hard Knocks. The only thing for you is they're 40-minute episodes. They're actually pretty short.
Oh, well,
so they're all for like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So you could breeze through it. Even if you were like a little bored, it'd be like, oh, it's done. It's not like sitting through.
Yeah, I did watch that first one, and that was my comment was, well, at least it was under an hour.
I would almost recommend to people, if you're even remotely interested in some of the behind the scenes dealings and workings of an organization, I think this has done a fairly decent job. Like I think I said in a previous recording about this, that it does feel like maybe some stuff gets left on the cutting room floor because you can't just give every secret away that a team's trying to do in the offseason. Granted, all this stuff's already happened, but I'm sure there's a lot of secrets and like process they go through that you just can't show, so. And
then doesn't the in season or the preseason one with the Bears, doesn't that start next week?
August 5th. Don't you have that in the upcoming events?
Yeah, I'd have to scroll down to find that.
August 6th, Tuesday next week. So next week we'll be talking. Well, next week will be the premiere for the Bears episode. So then we'll just swing right on into the Bears Hard Knocks. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I'll give that one a
It'll be
fair
weird
job.
to just jump from that to that, like right off the heels of the other. So
hey, that's good planning by the NFL Network.
Well, I mean NFL Films.
Whatever. Yeah, NFL Films.
I mean, yeah, for them that's awesome. Keep that because that's still one of the highest trending things on Max right now is the Hard Knocks. It's number 2 or 3 behind like House of the Dragon and something else that's on there right now. So good for them. Yeah, you got to keep it in the in the conversation.
Now, is that going to come out, the one with the Bears, is that going to come out in the evening, like 9, 10
Oh, it'll be the
o'clock
same like what they're doing. Yeah, it's 9 o'clock at night.
So I
think
couldn't watch it in the morning and talk about it that night. So
no, it's always
we'll
Tuesday night.
All right.
Yeah, well, it's always a week behind when we do this show.
I hate that.
I know.
Okay. We got some Arena Football League news. A number
their
of
season just wrapped up.
I know, but and I was there for the game, and
brag about it.
I talked to the owner of the Billings Outlaws, and
we know we gave you a T-shirt. We got a whole short about it.
But anyway, a number of players and coaches from the ArenaBowl champion Billings Outlaws were delayed returning to Billings due to the CrowdStrike software security update that affected all the airlines, and mainly the one they were flying, that caused flights to be canceled or delayed all over the country. Some players arrived in Billings on time, and others were initially stranded in New Jersey. But as of last Monday, almost everyone had made it back to Billings, with the exception of 5 members, 3 players, and 2 coaches who didn't arrive back in Billings until 3:30 a.m. on Tuesday. That group, which was stranded in Minnesota for 3 days, I think I would have just rented a car and driven by then, spent the first night at the airport, and then I guess they put them up in a hotel till they could get them out of there. But that group included head coach Cedric Walker, who was carrying the ArenaBowl trophy. So the coach and the trophy didn't make it back. They had a celebration planned in Billings for the championship at a restaurant or a sports bar or something, and he wasn't even there. So I think they're going to have another one when he got back with the trophy to show everybody.
So you need to hit up your new best friend, Steven Titus, have him fly you out there, and then you can do a whole video at the Billings celebration party. Let's make it happen.
I'm kind of thinking about going to a Billings game out there next year.
Oh, see, look at that. I told you. Rubbing elbows with the Arena Football Elite. Here he is. He's trying to get the red carpet rolled out.
I mean, I drove to New Jersey.
If you tell him we can record a live podcast there in Billings, that might, get us over the top.
I've been as far west driving as Mount Rushmore. So I think Billings is a little bit farther than that.
We can fly. First class, Mr. Titus, please.
I don't think so.
Okay, I'll settle for second class. As long as I can still get those little tiny Cokes or the little graham crackers, that they give you on the flight, I'll be happy.
I don't even know if they do that anymore on the flight.
What about an in-flight movie?
If you pay for it, probably.
Oh, jeez.
pay for the headphones. All right, and then there was an indoor football league, or not indoor football league, but indoor football news item that also came out from American Indoor Football. The Amarillo Venom have rebranded themselves as the Amarillo Dusters. I don't know if you saw that logo.
I did.
That name was used by an AF2 team for 5 seasons from 2005 to 2009, leading to speculation that the team might be part of the AFL next season.
I don't know if I'll believe it.
Well, look at it this way. Why would you change your name? I mean, Amarillo Venom could have switched leagues and gone anywhere, but to change it to the Dusters, which was an Arena Football League team name, maybe they got permission and maybe they're going to be a part of the league. I think there's some credibility to this, but we shall see.
That's just wild speculation.
I love it.
I say that's venomous speculation.
Oh.
But I don't know. I think it's just a brand name that the locals there probably enjoyed more. That were more recognizable. Granted, they hadn't been the Dusters since 2009.
Right.
But as soon as I saw that logo, I was like, oh yeah. Yep.
I remember that. Seeing that.
It was a great logo, great colors. But we'll see if that does amount to them jumping into the Arena League. Interesting. Mm-hmm. I don't know how this Amarillo franchise has been run as long as they've been the Venom. So that's something I'm sure that if they went through the vetting process of the Arena League, and maybe now we'll start getting some arena news, especially since their season's over, the AIF season's over, so they could probably start talking to other teams and other leagues. Now we got time.
Now that the coach and the trophy have finally made it to Billings, we can look forward to next year.
I'm sure. But we'll see what happens. Yeah. As of right now, today on July 30th, 2024, the year of our Lord and Savior, I was going to say, what was the quarterback that won MVP for the Billings Outlaws?
Harker.
Yep. Our Lord and Savior Harker from the Arena Football League. I don't believe this.
Well, we'll see. It's interesting. I just thought it was an interesting development, and I think personally, there might be something to it, but we shall see.
And I don't. Well, we'll see who's right and who's wrong.
All right. Yeah, I guess we will, won't we?
Yeah.
All right. College football news. Ohio State football players earned around $20 million in NIL money this past year. Now, that's just the football team. That's not all the student athletes from Ohio State. This is just the football players. That amount is believed to be the highest in all of college football. I know that Ohio State has a big following. Michigan, I don't know where they stand in comparison to this. I don't think anybody's come out with a chart to show just what kind of NIL
I'm
money.
sure there's some numbers nerd out there.
It might be coming out soon, but this is the first one I've heard about, that $20 million by the Ohio State football team.
And I don't know how much of that is public, like that these guys are getting paid this now. Like, I don't know what the rules are in terms of that. Like, how much are we allowed to know how much guys are getting paid?
I think it has to be pretty transparent. I think there's something about making this money known. So there probably will be a big chart of which team was leading the way in NIL money, and you might be surprised by some of them. Ohio State does not surprise me. All right, and the last college story that I've got here, I just saw this earlier today, and it bums me out a little bit. The 130-year-old college football rivalry in Ohio is coming to an end. That being the Battle of the Victory Bell rivalry between the University of Cincinnati and Miami University. will be coming to an end in 2026. Now they're not supposed to meet this year on their schedule, so next year is 2026.
That's 2 seasons.
Yeah, 2 seasons. It will be the last time this rivalry is being played. It doesn't really say why the rivalry was coming to an end. I read the article and it didn't say why they're not going to be playing. But you've got to figure a lot of this is different conference. Well, of course it was a non-conference rivalry, but I think everybody's looking to get the best rivalry you can so that they can make the college football playoffs. Now that the playoffs are 12 teams instead of 4, so everybody's
trying to strengthen their schedule.
Yep, it's all about making the playoffs now. It's not about some of these rivalries, which is too bad. This rivalry dates back to December 8th of 1888, and the series is actually tied right now. 60 wins for Cincinnati, 60 wins for Miami, with 7 ties in the series. It is the oldest non-conference rivalry in college football and is the second oldest football subdivision rivalry.
You smell that?
What's that?
I smell a history lesson, Randy. I smell a history lesson, especially with this news on the Victory Bell rivalry. I think there you go. You haven't done a history lesson in a while. I keep bugging you to get the history lessons back going. Know. Add this one to the list.
Well, I just may have to do that.
You should. Especially with college football season right around the corner. We need more videos on the college football rivalries and the games that they play. Do it.
Aren't we busy enough, man?
Hold on. I'm busy enough. You, Mr. Retiree.
Yeah, I have to sit down.
You need to start pulling your weight around here.
Give you, hand this to you on a silver platter so that you can cut it up and say, boy, you did a crap job on that one.
That's what we pay you for. And we are paying you now, so there we go.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to today's birthdays. For July 30th, linebacker Terry Crews turns 56 years old today. Played his college football at Western Michigan University right here in Kalamazoo, just on the other side of town from us. He was selected in the 11th round of the 1991 NFL Draft by the Los Angeles Rams. He played 3 NFL seasons. He was with the Rams in 1991, the San Diego Chargers in 1993, and the Washington Redskins in 1995. Now, if that name sounds familiar, you may know him from his TV and movie career, where he starred in such movies as White Chicks, Idiocracy, The Longest Yard, so many great movies this guy's been in. And now he's like a co-host on America's Got Talent. Yep. So he's everywhere.
Man, he's great on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Right.
He was also on Everybody Hates Chris.
Yep.
Every time he pops up on something, the dude is great.
Oh, he's just so
If you get a chance, go watch his Hot Ones. It was fun. He's also appeared on Good Mythical Morning before. So the dude is just charisma personified.
They were doing an episode on a PBS radio station, Wait, Don't Tell Me, and he called in because they were on the campus of Western Michigan University, so they brought him in as an alumni to help with that show. I remember listening to that, and he had nothing but good things to say about Western Michigan. So, yeah, hope he comes back to town sometime. We'd love to meet him. Love to have him on our show.
Oh my God, he put it out there, ladies and gentlemen.
Terry Crews, if you're out there, we're dying to meet you. We're dying to have you on our show. We can Skype you in or Zoom you in or whatever. We're not paying for you to come here, but we'll
there it goes. Yeah, he just immediately turned off his phone, closed his laptop.
Did you see that thing where he actually is a good painter? Also, Terry Crews.
He's a talented man.
Where he paints portraits of football players that he knows and gives it to them.
Yes, I've seen this. I think they talked about that on his Hot Ones.
Okay.
It's great.
Okay.
He's great.
He is. He's awesome. The other birthday we have today, defensive lineman Robert Porcher turns 55 years old today. He played his college football at South Carolina State. He was the 26th overall pick in the 1992 NFL Draft by the Detroit Lions. Played 12 NFL seasons, all with our beloved Lions, between 1992 and 2003. He wore number 91, and that's, I don't know if anybody's worn, well.
I think somebody has, but he needs to be.
We just associate him with the number 91.
He needs to be put in the Lions Ring of Honor.
Yes, he does.
Pride of the Lions. He's got to be one of the next dudes.
Yep.
He's long overdue for him. If he isn't already, I don't think he
was
is.
a great defensive lineman for us. All right, so now we're going to switch to our obituaries. This is where we take a moment and honor those who've made the world of football a better place. Just one this week.
Uh-oh.
And it is
okay, are we about to have a second one?
Doug Smith, a nose tackle and defensive tackle in the NFL and the USFL, has passed away of cardiac arrest at the age of 64. Smith played college football at Auburn and was selected in the second round of the 1984 NFL Draft by the Houston Oilers. However, he chose to sign with the USFL's Birmingham Stallions. He played one season for the Stallions in 1985, and then the USFL folded. He then signed with the Oilers in the fall of '85 and played for the team for 8 seasons from 1985 to 1992. And finally today, it's our upcoming events calendar. This Thursday, August 1st, Pro Football Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio. Chicago Bears versus the Houston Texans. That's in 2 days from now.
Yeah, don't expect to see C.J. Stroud. We already heard about Caleb Williams. Yeah. So whatever.
You got to be. I always tune in just to watch the opening kickoff because then I know it's for real. I've seen it. The NFL season is now underway, so I always catch the opening kickoff or try to. I don't know how much I'll watch at the game, but yeah, it's a tradition that I would watch the opening kickoff. Let's see. And then on Saturday, this coming Saturday, August 3rd, the 2024 enshrinement ceremonies will take place at the same stadium. And then Tuesday, August 6th, Hard Knocks Training Camp with the Chicago Bears, a 5-episode series on HBO and Max, will debut. Tuesday, August 13th, our 7th anniversary show. I've got a bunch of highlights that I need to pull out. I've been making a list all year long, checking it twice.
Yeah.
And so we'll have some highlights of some of our past shows. Those are always fun. I mean, if you don't listen to our show or if you're new to our show, go back and listen to our 4th anniversary show, our 5th anniversary show, 6th, because every year we pull out a bunch of highlights from that year, and it's kind of fun to see the mischief we've gotten into over the past year.
The mischief, so much.
And then Saturday, August 24th, week 0 in college football. I think there's 6 games that day. Thursday, September 5th, the NFL regular season begins with the Ravens at the Chiefs. And then the very next night, on Friday night, September 6th, the Eagles at the Packers from Sao Paulo, Brazil. That game is going to be exclusively on Amazon Prime. So get your Prime subscription if you want to watch that game. And that is it. Anything else before we close this show?
Hey, no breaking news. So I think we're good.
All right. That's all the time we've got for this week. If you learned something during this podcast about the incredible amount of diversity that exists in the world of football, then we have done our job. Visit our website at theworldoffootball.com for news, links, upcoming events, original articles, videos, and more. Our email address is info@theworldoffootball.com.
You can follow The World of Football on our Facebook, our X account, and Instagram account, where the address for all 3 of those is TWOF Kalamazoo. New episodes of this podcast are posted on Tuesdays and are available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music, so you can simply ask your Alexa device to play the World of Football podcast to hear us on whatever Alexa devices you may have. You can also find the full audio version of this show on our YouTube channel. Just enter The World of Football Kalamazoo or use the handle @The World of Football in that YouTube search bar to find us. So please spread the word, subscribe, rate, review, give us a like, leave us a comment, let us know what you think, and please, underlined, come be a part of the football conversation.
And remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than the 2 of us guys sitting here in Kalamazoo. Until next time, when we'll try and do a better job. Yeah, right. I'm Randy Snow.
And that marks 0 weeks since our last show under 1 hour. This is the 2nd week in a row. Congratulations.
Wow. Well, it's always a good show when you talk less and we get it under an hour.
Well, sorry. Now you just cross over an hour. I'm just kidding.
See you all next week.